Chloe Bailey's album is about to drop this spring, and Parkwood is mostly relying on one method to make Chloe a superstar. What do you do when you fail to establish a dedicated fan base, create consistent hits, or haven't made an identity for your artist? You ride Beyonce's coattails. Let's get into it. Chloe has been teasing her album since last Christmas, after she went on social media to reveal her album had been stalled, and around June 20th she had cleared off her IG hinting at an announcement, and it had people talking. Some were excited, others were criticizing her, but all were interested. Then today, or rather maybe a couple of days ago, I don't know when this video is going to come out, but she released a trailer that her album is coming in March, this spring. And this is right off the buzz from Beyonce's Dubai performance. The timing isn't a coincidence, it's a tried-true method Parkwood has been using since day one with Chloe, using Beyonce's clout to propel her career. Parkwood has invested a lot into Chloe, so using Beyonce's clout to make sure she reaches as much success as she can makes sense. It has its faults for sure, but if done right, it can work out for both parties. My issue is, it seems to be the main method they're relying on to get Chloe to be that superstar, which isn't a smart move. It is starting to falter, and you should never put your eggs in one basket. Now this video is very off the cuff, but I just wanted to point out some of the ways I've noticed Parkwood use Beyonce in order to make Chloe more popular. The first method in breaking Chloe in as a soloist was Tik Tok, that successfully created 2 viral moments off her 2 singles, Have Mercy and Treat Me. It was obvious her team, with the help from Beyonce, had set up Have Mercy and Treat Me to be viral. They released a snippet of Have Mercy on Bailey's 23rd birthday. It was like July 1st of 2021. Right around that time, Chloe was facing backlash over her racy performance of Nina Simone's Feeling Good at ABC's Juneteenth special. But more importantly, we have to see what Beyonce was doing at this time. During this summer, the Carters were releasing familiar content. They had a family photo shoot at the top of May. Then soon after that, the Carters were celebrating the twins' birthday, which was around mid-June, so June 13th. But Beyonce was also advertising her latest Adidas Ivy Park drop all throughout that last week of June, so around June 23rd to the 29th. And furthermore, she even shouted out Chloe's birthday on the website. So we see with all this Beyonce activity happening all throughout that last week, building up to her Have Mercy tease drop on her social medias, she was building off that momentum, off that Beyoncé clout, to have that viral Have Mercy moment. Now when the single was officially released on September 9th of 2021, there was a lot of hype surrounding it. It was around the VMAs, where Chloe was performing for the first time as a soloist. There were dating rumors about Future and Gunna later on after the performance. A lot was happening. The music video dropped the day before the VMAs and it trended all throughout the weekend, reaching number 2 on YouTube Music. People were highly anticipating the VMA performance and it was polarizing. You could tell she was nervous and she hadn't hit her marks all the way, but she still gave a show. Now, for my sensitive nerves, it was too risque for me, but to each his own. Something else that was happening, Beyonce Knowles had a lot going on during this last week in August leading up to the VMAs. Denim Ivy Park Rodeo collection dropped August 19th. She had a Tiffany's campaign August 30th, not to mention her 40th birthday was on September 4th. So it was a perfect way for Chloe to ride. And we see this pattern of her riding Beyonce's wave with the rest of her releases. A year later, she released Treat Me. And to start the whole rollout, she released a trailer of it on her socials at the top of March. She then tweeted that her album was done, like the last week of March, like on March 20th, which caused some buzz. And then she released a teaser of Treat Me. She did 2 videos for it. The first one was for her self-love challenge she was doing at the time, so that was around March 23rd. Then the single came out on April 8th. It didn't do as well as her first single, Have Mercy, which peaked at number 28 in the Hot 100. Treat Me debuted 81 on the charts, which led her team to make another TikTok video. This time it was a dance type challenge where Chloe was showcasing choreo of the latest song. Unfortunately, it didn't do anything for the song on the Hot 100, but it did very well on the digital charts and it trended really well on TikTok, so not too bad. But I know what you're thinking, what was Beyonce doing? Well, around that time, she had a huge moment performing Be Alive at the Oscars, and then she had another moment wearing the most expensive Tiffany's diamond at the Oscars after party. And she was still doing the Tiffany's campaign. She had a 14th wedding anniversary too, April 5th. So Chloe had a good bit of Beyonce cachet to check in. With her single Surprise, Bailey went on IG Live teasing multiple songs for her fans to pick out as the next single. Votes were in, but Beyonce ended up making the final decision on what single to release, and it was decided that Surprise would be released June 17th. Mind you, all this is happening when Beyonce had announced her Renaissance era, along with its lead single, Break My Soul. So some Beyoncé clout there for sure. In the end, their singles ended up being dropped 3 days apart. Surprise, June 17th, Break My Soul, June 20th. There was no TikTok challenge for this single. Most people called it a flop, actually. It was an intimate video where there was no extra stuff like 16 outfit changes, dancers, and choreo. You could tell there was less money, but it was a decent music video. She did a BET performance to promote the song. Then she did a Chloe and Halle festival performance where she had a little viral moment with her raunchy antic on stage. She also did a DoorDash collab, but it wasn't well known. Not a lot of people knew about it, and there was some drama about it selling out in like hours, but consumers mentioned not getting their products, so I don't know what happened there. Some speculated Beyonce sabotaged Chloe because she was also coming out with the single at the time, but I don't know about that. Maybe it was because there was less money with this release. Maybe that's what people were picking up on, but who knows. Chloe's latest drop for the night, oh lord, it was a mess. She dropped on Rihanna and SZA's weekend. Someone wanted her to fail. She had tweeted about her excitement for the October 28th weekend, and people were clowning her for inserting herself in this momentous weekend where no one would be checking for her. And that was mean, but they had a point. Rihanna's first comeback to music and SZA's return after a frustrating hiatus. Could you pick a worse time to drop? What was the buzz surrounding the single? Well, Chloe went on Twitter Spaces around October 6th, earlier that month, where she said she wrote for the night about Gunna, and everyone peeped that marketing tactic. And then she went about telling people to leave Normani alone, and people picked up on that. She also mentioned having issues with her parents, and people started saying her parents were approving of her new image. But who knows? Around September and October, she was racking up all these deals. Trident Gum, Garage Clothing, and the biggest Pepsi. But people didn't pay attention to the Pepsi collab. They noticed she was getting a lot of deals though. But the fact that no one noticed Pepsi, that was really telling. She had no juice for people to care. I think her team was counting on the attention from the Pepsi collab to transfer over to For the Night, but that didn't work out. Chloe had posted about it everywhere along with major outlets, so there was promotion, people just didn't care. She released a teaser for the Night, October 18th, and it had this famous social media comedian in it, and at this point you could tell she was trying to get some traction going for this release, and you could tell she was having some marketing trouble after she responded to a fan on Twitter mentioning she was open to their marketing advice. And the fact that Lotto was added to feature on the song, her team was grabbing at anything to propel the song. Ironically, when the song dropped, people hated the Lotto feature. People made a petition to get her off the single, and all this hate was coming off of the Nicki Lotto beef that just happened like weeks prior, so that was an L for Chloe. Another L was how crappy the music video was. Where was the budget? She went from a modest, sleek dancing in the warehouse to a candid style camera of her getting ready for the iHeartRadio concert, spliced with her being on stage and Lotto off to the side. And Lotto looked like she didn't even want to be there. Like, what was happening? The music video looked very bad. Parkwood and Columbia completely gave up on it. But I know what you're thinking. What was Beyonce doing? Around this time, she announced the Renaissance tour days before For the Night was released. So I think around October 22nd, she announced the tour. October 28th, For the Night was released, and everyone was buzzing about it. She had released her Halloween family costume pictures around this time, but it was like a week later, and I don't think it really helped with the single. Nothing could help with that single. This horrible release shows me what happens when there's little to no Beyonce news to propel Chloe. She's struggling for relevancy because right now she doesn't have any clout of her own. As of right now, Chloe has announced her album will be releasing in March, after people are still talking about the Beyonce Dubai performance. And people think that Chloe will be opening for Beyonce for her Renaissance tour. If she is an opener, and it's a good chance that she'll be an opener, her album will have more staying power with the tour going on. I think she's going to drop another single or two close to the album release date, or maybe there'll be some Beyonce news like tickets going on sale and then she'll drop. Oh my gosh, what if they had Beyonce tickets and they bundle it with Chloe's album, so you just buy a ticket, get Chloe's album for free? That'd be funny. Anyways, she releases the album, see what track is popular, maybe releases another single before the tour, like a fan favorite, or maybe she'll find a favorite track while on tour and release then. She has a lot of options with this tour going on, but this Beyonce train can only last for so long. It's rumored that this will be her last tour, and without Beyonce, I don't know what Chloe would do. Hopefully at the point where Beyonce full on bows out, she'll have enough social capital to sustain her own career, because right now it's not looking too good. I mean, news broke of her album release and all the major outlets are covering it, and it took nearly the end of the day for it to trend. Granted, there were bigger stories out like Ticketmaster hearing and the Biden being searched by the feds, so maybe that's why it took so long, but you know. I figure she only has a hit or two in her, but she doesn't have longevity. Okay, so before I close out this video, I just want to say Chloe isn't flopping. I realize that now. The reason why people say she's flopping is in relation to the expectations of her label and being Beyonce's artist. If she wasn't expected to be Beyonce's replacement, most people have better opinions on her current status. Bailey has over 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. She's garnered millions of streams off her singles, but that's not good enough for Parkwood in Colombia, who expected her to be a Doja Cat in the span of 2 years. That's too short a time period, especially with how they launched her. Chloe and Halle was just getting consistent mainstream attention with the Ungodly Hour era. Launching her right off that still developing foundation and expecting her to be a superstar in like 2 years is ludicrous. Now, having said all that, if Beyonce weren't in the picture, I'm not sure she'd be getting those numbers in such a short time. Her team has created this weird situation where Bailey is tethered to Beyonce, and that could be very detrimental further in her career. Heck, we're seeing some cons now. The biggest problems are the expectations. Constantly being compared to Beyonce, people expect Chloe to be a GOAT right out the gate, performance on point, fashion decent. Singing has to be stellar at all time. That pressure can be so debilitating. Her labels expect her to hit top 20s with every release, possibly one single topping the next. And if she doesn't meet those expectations, they start pulling investments. And not to mention, people clown her. It's issues like this that make me think that maybe she was set up to fail all along. Her team hasn't set her up for longevity, use her body to get attention. Yeah, that way she can lose her Chloe and Halle core fanbase and create an environment where people can trend for hating on her for being corny. And she has to keep upping the ante, getting raunchier to garner and to keep that attention. It's not sustainable. Meanwhile, those who are attracted to the new look aren't interested in the music. And that's a big thing. Her career failures and her antics have eclipsed the music. I keep hearing people talk about y'all weren't checking for her when she was covered up. At least now y'all talking about her. If her team had focused more on the musical side of things, doing live performances, collabs, more covers, and overall toning down the raciness, yes, it would have been a more gradual rise, but she'd have a stronger foundation, and the end be better off for it. Those who rise quickly fall quicker. At this point, she has to either rely on Beyonce's clout or her body to get attention, since she hasn't established any real social cachet of her own. Well, that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Goodbye.